Hello YouTube, this is the Bucket coming at you today with the Bryco Arms Jennings 9. This zinc alloy gun measures in at a length of 6.6 inches long, 1.25 inches wide, 4.75 inches tall, barrel length of 3.75 inches, and weighing in at a stout 30 ounces unloaded. Now, to give you guys a little bit of perspective on that, a unloaded Ithaca 1911 A1 that went in and won World War II weighs in at 32 ounces. So this is only slightly lighter than a full-size 1911. So this is a hefty boy. This is a striker-fired gun with a 12+1 on the mag capacity. This gun was made by a company called Bryco. Now, it gets a little bit, we're going to need to get a little bit into the weeds on this particular gun because we need a little bit of a history lesson for us to fully understand Bryco and Jennings as a whole. So back in 1968, Firearms Act restricted the importation of small caliber and foreign-made firearms to the United States, making it much harder to get those foreign-made firearms into the States. What that did, the desire for inexpensive firearms did not go away. So all that did was create a market for companies to come in and start producing some of these inexpensive firearms. And kind of the granddaddy of them all was George Jennings, and he created Raven Arms. And Raven Arms is kind of one of those companies that is known for making really inexpensive firearms, low quality products, but at a price point where you could get them really inexpensively. So his son, Bruce Jennings, in 1978 created a company called the Jennings Arms Company. And this was a company designed to make guns like this. They made ones, a really popular one in .22, a really popular one in .380, and these were all blowback designed guns that were designed to be inexpensive and be able to pick up really quickly. These companies, like Raven, like Jennings, colloquially got the term the Ring of Fire because they started to realize that a lot of the damage and death and crime that was coming around was coming from firearms produced by these companies that were all around Los Angeles, California. And that's where that term Ring of Fire comes from. Now, what a lot of these companies would do is as soon as they got into any legal trouble for problems with how the gun operated or getting sued for a litany of reasons, they would just declare bankruptcy and then start up another company. So Jennings Arms closed shop and opened up Bryco Arms, and they actually were located in 3 different locations. So when you look, and if you look on this slide, this says Costa Mesa, California, that you can kind of date your Jennings Nines by what it says on the slide. So if it says by Jennings, it's one of the early ones. If it says Bryco and it says Carson, that's earliest. Irvine, California, that's next, and Costa Mesa, California would be the last. This is a Costa Mesa, so it is one of the later produced Jennings Nines, and I've read online that the older they get, the kind of the worse the quality gets. And they ended up getting sued for and losing $24 million due to a design flaw in this gun. So how the story goes is the Jennings Nine had a problem with feeding issues, and if it was unsafe. So they changed the design, so the only way that you can load or unload this pistol is with the safety off. And a 20-year-old goes over to a family friend's house and shoots a young child in the face and neck, paralyzing him, making him a quadriplegic. And due to the fact that in the manual it specifically said to put it, leave it on fire when unloading the firearm, they lost the suit, and it was for $24 million. And so immediately Bruce Jennings declares bankruptcy, and ends up that the shop foreman named Paul Jimenez ended up buying all of the factory and the plans and everything else for a total of $510,000. Now, if you read online, there is some claims that really the Jennings family gave him the money to do it, and that the Jennings family is really still behind the scenes of the Jimenez company, and that was kind of still Jennings running everything. And they kind of make the claims that the Jennings family and kind of their cohort really ran the whole ring of fire. And I am doing research as best I can. I'm not in California, and let's face it, I've got 4 baby buckets, and I'm gonna give you what I found, so you could take for that what it's worth. And Jimenez ended up starting Jimenez Arms, and then he got into legal trouble, and then changed it to JA Arms, and basically sold the exact same guns. So if you have a Jimenez JA9, that is this gun. This is just when they were still under the name of Bryco. So these are, again, known for being poorly constructed pistols. Now, Jimenez declared bankruptcy in February of 2020 after they were selling directly from the factory to non-FFLs, which is a big financial, or a big no-no with the ATF. And so they're now out of business, and so you're not going to be buying new Jimenez's anytime soon. So let me tell you a little bit about my first impressions with this gun. It is, like I said, it's heavy. It is a blowback gun, so the slide is hard to pull back. Not impossible. It will automatically engage the safety, and the safety is the slide stop, slide release. You can just drop it or pull it back and leave it open that way, which is nice. This is a gun that does have a magazine disconnect safety, so it will not fire without the magazine in it. Like I said, it's striker fired, so when the striker is engaged, this little orange nub will come out. There is an orange nub on top of the slide, which will let you know that you have a loaded chamber. So I'm going to take a snap cap and put this snap cap in here. I will tell you, if you look online, they'll tell you these are jam-o-matic guns, and you'll fire one round and you'll never get another one to reliably fire again. I kind of bought this pistol to kind of determine whether or not what you hear all the time, whether it's true or not. And so I will tell you that when I have loaded this gun up with a snap cap and I look in there, you can see that follower on the magazine is so loose that the bullet is canted like at an angle. Now, when I drop the slide, it has always, except for once, chambered that round. But if that bullet really is going in there at an angle, I could see how that could cause some reliability issues. And again, you can see it now where it's really canted off to the side, and that may cause some reliability with feeding issues. So We'll check that out when we get into the range. Again, you can see it really pretty well there, that it is, it's not designed to go straight. It's may not go straight in there. It does have that loaded chamber indicator, which you can pick up on when you're aiming the gun. This does have windage adjustable, elevation and windage adjustable sights, which is nice. It does have the orange front dot like the UGD does love. The trigger is long, spongy, heavy with no discernible break. It may not be the worst trigger I've ever had. That H&K P70 was pretty terrible. I had a Cobra Derringer that was pretty god awful. Not excited about that. Does have a drop free mag, which is nice. They're inexpensive. They are what they are. How you disassemble this firearm is you go ahead and you make sure it's empty. You depress the disassembly and then just pull off, because again, it is a fixed barrel blowback design, just like that Gander Outdoors. She's a lovely young lady that really helped me out a bunch today. Promised I'd give her a shout out. When she helped me out with this, I did not get a chance to really disassemble it. I did take off the grips. This frame is intact. There's no cracks. There's no discernible damage that's going to cause this gun to be unsafe to fire. I went ahead and I checked the slide as well. Now, it's a dirty bird. She has not been cleaned regularly, that's for sure. Was a little surprised that Gander Outdoors had not, run some copies number 9 through this. But the bucket does love to clean his gun, so that shouldn't be a problem at all. And then to reassemble it, it's just a reverse affair. Just do it the exact opposite. There is no place for that spring to go, so you just kind of gotta, avoid that happening and avoid it from going up in the housing. And again, assembling firearms is a lot of fun to do on camera, but it can be done. All right, so those are my first impressions. One of my favorite stories about this gun is kind of the gall of Bruce Jennings. So these guns were colloquially called Saturday Night Specials, which through my research, I heard somebody state that that's like racially insensitive. So if I didn't know that was a racially insensitive term, but that's what they were called for a lot of years. And he actually bought a plane and named it the Saturday Night Special because that's how he could afford to buy the plane. So a term utilized to describe lawlessness and utilizing a firearm to rob or hurt other people, and deciding to name your be proud of the fact that that's how you could afford your plane is probably a little tone deaf, but that was Bruce Jennings for you. I am looking forward to getting this out to the range and shooting it, because I want to know, when you go online, they will tell you that this is the biggest piece of garbage and it'll never run and it's going to explode in your hand. And if you get robbed and you have this on it, give it to the robber, because chances are it's going to do more damage to them than it is to you. I don't. These guns sold for a lot of years. And I'm just kind of interested to see how they really run. So if you like what I had to say today, go ahead and hit that like button. If you have any comments, questions, concerns about this particular firearm or any of the other stuff that I had to say today, go ahead and put that in the comments below. Feel free to share this with anybody that you might think that this might interest them. And once again, you stay classy, YouTube.
I learned a lesson. Never half-ass two things. Whole-ass one thing.